So, I've been hearing people talk about Mutant Mudds on the Switch and how great it is. That had me thinking, why not talk about it when it came out on mobile ages ago? I got some beef, obviously, so let's talk. I've been playing Mutant Mudds lately, which I bought when it first came out on mobile, but hadn't got the chance to play it. I was hearing a lot about it lately though, since it just recently came out on the Nintendo Switch. And that got me to thinking, why is it that I never heard that much when it came out on mobile, and now I'm hearing a ton about it and how great it is on the Switch? Sure, logic would say that it's because the Switch is so popular, but I want to look at the deeper meaning of why. Why isn't mobile taken seriously, and what is it going to take for it to be taken seriously? Because, in my opinion, all the tools are there. So first, let's talk about the perceived lack of physical controls. This may be the most talked about deficiency of mobile games, but honestly, I think this is its strong point. It really all depends on how you look at it. Yes, you actually have people like me that don't mind touch controls and are open-minded in that aspect. I like to compare it to when Windows 8 came out and there was a revolutionary change in how we use the Windows operating system. I personally thought it was great. I think it could have been tweaked a little bit more, but I enjoyed the changes and I adapted to them. I think people don't like change and don't like having to adapt to things when they don't have to, and that's fine. As for me though, I love the flexibility of mobile devices. Is it only a touchscreen? No, of course not. You can get various types of controllers for mobile devices. For instance, there's the Nimbus gamepad, which I talk about really often on this site. That controller is ideal for the 10-inch iPads and the Apple TV. Then there's the GameVice controller, which works basically like the Switch Joy-Cons in that you can attach them to either end of your mobile device. And this option works perfectly for iPhones and the iPad mini. I attempted it on the 10-inch iPad and it just looked and felt ridiculous. So when you think about it, this really isn't a problem. I mean, yes, it costs a little extra to get these peripherals, but I think that the cheap cost of mobile games, usually from $1 to $10, offsets the cost of the pricey Nintendo Switch games, which usually run for $60 a piece. With $60, you can buy a controller and still have $20 left over to buy 2 to 6 good games depending on what you like. Those upper end mobile games are really good and deep games. It's also really versatile. You have a phone, a really good internet browser, and a vast ecosystem of apps. Last but not least, you can take a business call and still look like a boss while playing a game afterwards. It's everything in just one device that fits in your pocket. Next, let's talk free-to-play games and microtransactions. This is probably the thing that most plagues mobile gaming. But once again, it's really not a problem for me. I look at it as there's more options to choose from. For instance, I used to do a series of the top 6 free mobile games. I might actually bring that back at some point, but while going through a ton of free games, I was usually able to decipher within 2 to 3 minutes if it was a game that was worth playing or if it was just junk. And let me tell you, there was some junk, yeah, but there was also a lot of really good free games. Some free games like the recent Stranger Things game, which I might do a video on because I thought it was a great game, has no microtransactions. But there are also games that do have them. A lot of people look at microtransactions and completely hate them. And yes, in a game like Battlefront 2 that costs you $60 and then they have the audacity to charge you microtransactions, that's just wrong. But these are free games that rely on microtransactions to make money on the game. I'm of the idea that good work deserves good pay, so when I play a free-to-play game that has microtransactions, if I like the game, I'll usually buy a pack just to support the developer. You can also use people like me or sites like toucharcade.com to cater you the best free and paid games on mobile. That way you can weed out all the other apps. Last but not least, advertising. Apple has never been one to advertise gaming on the whole. I mean, before iOS, their only other foray into the gaming industry was the Pippin. And the Pippin was a highly unsuccessful device that really never had games that were all that good. These days, with iOS devices, they do advertise gaming a bit, but they mostly rely on third-party games to support the system. It has proven to be a decent plan, but I would love to see what Apple could do if they made games themselves. There were talks a few years ago about Apple putting together a gaming division, but I don't think that ever materialized into anything. If they ever started making games themselves, I think we'd see more of an uptick in mobile gaming, and their iOS devices would be taken more seriously as proper gaming devices. I feel like the Nintendo Switch is a really great device, but the problem I see with it is it's not great on docked mode. When I'm in my house and on my couch playing a game, I want the best graphics and frame rate I can get out of that beautiful 1080p or 4K TV, and the Switch just doesn't deliver on that aspect. The graphics are just not good enough for a home console. So will the Nintendo Switch ever be for me? Probably not, especially if Nintendo ever releases their old games catalog on mobile. I'm satisfied with what I get from mobile games in terms of graphics, depth, and variety for when I'm on the go, and buying a Switch would kind of just be overkill, honestly. Before closing this video, I want to do a quick abbreviated review of Mutant Mudds on iOS and Android. So first, controls and gameplay. The controls are great. They're customizable in the way that you can move them around and place them wherever you want and wherever is most comfortable for you. I think the controls themselves are pretty great too. At the beginning, there were a few times when I had a hard time going down a step because you have to press the down button and the A button, and then to shoot you have to press the B button. So instead of going down the step, I would shoot, but I got used to the controls fairly quickly and started dominating in platformers per usual. There are some hard parts though. Sometimes you have to time your jumps perfectly because you have these blinking platforms, and sometimes you'll need to hover to get to these as well. Hovering and jumping have different air times. If the platform is timed differently, sometimes you have to do a regular jump and other times you have to hover. Also, the baddies with shields and baddies that are flying around close to the platforms are hard to kill, but like I said, it's all about timing. Those clouds blowing air that knock you to the foreground of the level can get so freaking annoying. But hey, that's what platformers are all about, right? I'd also like to add that Mutant Mudds has yet to add M5 controller support, which kind of sucks because I just recently bought one and I'm loving it. Next is UI and graphics. The UI is fine. It's really simple. You get a settings button where you can adjust the controls, a couple buttons to turn off music and sound to be able to play your own music, a button to turn off checkpoints, and an icon to trash your save data. The graphics are pure 16-bit goodness and they look great! It even has a nice parallax effect and different layers to the game on the foreground and background that you get to play on. It's really a pretty cool concept that has been done before, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Next is music and sound. The music is that cool retro 16-bit MIDI generation music that we got when we were kids. It just triggers that nostalgia that I enjoy. The sounds are great. You get that bubbly sound when you jump and the pew pew when you shoot. It's just satisfying. Last but not least, story. This game is all about the platforming, so the story is really simple. Basically, you have mutants in forms of mud who are attacking Earth, and your job is to eradicate them and save the planet. The question is, will you or can you save it? That's up to you. There are a total of 4 worlds, each of which have 4 levels. Once you beat each level, you're not done with the game. They give you another task, and that is to collect all the diamonds in each level. So you'll have a ton of hours of fun with this game, not to mention they've also added the new ghost levels, so that'll add even more replay value. So is this game good? Should you pick it up? Absolutely. There's a reason why it came out pretty much everywhere on basically every console known to man. This game is absolutely DLive HD approved. Alright guys, thanks for joining me. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of my opinions in the video and if you've played Mutant Mudds and what you thought about it. Remember to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, it really helps me out a lot. I'm also adding Amazon affiliate links in the description for things like Steam, Apple App Store gift cards, and Google Play Store gift cards, just in case you plan on buying this game or other games that you need a gift card for. For every purchase you make, I get a little bit in return, and that helps the channel out a lot. If you want more content like this, remember to subscribe because I release mobile game content like this pretty often. Love you guys, and peace!